is back, finally. The past couple weeks have been kind of, well, I wouldn't say nuts, but they've been a little weird for me. I've been trying to get back into the groove of things, and I'm starting to do some freelance work, so that's taking up a lot of my time. A little update on some of the other work that I've been doing. I'm still plowing through my rewrite of my current work in progress. I'm up to chapter 13. I got a little hung up there. That's what's really been hanging me up is chapter 13 in my WIP. There's a confrontation between my main character and the queen bitch. And I am not a bitchy person by nature. So that was kind of difficult for me to write. But I did get some excellent help from some of my followers on Twitter. One of which is the subject of today's video. W.B. Welch, she's very prominent in the writing community, and she just came out with her new book, Blood Drops. If you haven't read Blood Drops yet, go ahead. I'll forgive you. You go ahead, go right now, get Blood Drops and read it, and then come back and watch this video. You're back? Okay, good. Here we go. So this is a collection of short, and when I mean short, I mean like tiny, like 1 or 2 page short stories, horrifying short stories. This is some of the creepiest shit that I've ever read. I made it up to number 9 in here, and I realized I needed to share this with you guys. This is, W.B. Welch is phenomenal. So some of the visuals and the imagery that she puts into her work is just, I can't explain it. That's why I needed to share it with you. So today I'm going to be doing a reaction reading of some of W.B. Welch's work. So I'm up to number 10, or chapter 10, the 10th short story. It's called The Water Stain. So let's dive right into it. The Water Stain. It all started with a dead squirrel. It always starts with dead animals, doesn't it? That was their action. That was the first sign of death, anyway. I was in the back watering the yard one morning before work, and there he was, on his side, with his tongue hanging out of his mouth. I found 2 more in the front yard the next morning. You're fucking cursed, okay? I don't know who you are, man, woman, or in between. You're cursed. If shit's falling out of your, the squirrels are falling out of your fucking trees. About the same time, I noticed my grass and bushes wilt and then die altogether. See, I told you, you're cursed. Within a week, every plant and blade of grass was dead. I watched the trees, knowing they were next. Of course they're next. Whatever poisoned my property, had killed everything but the 3 massive oaks standing leafless. So are they leafless because it's like fall, or are they leafless because they're dead? Because it just said that they weren't dead. I don't know. I had a lawn company come and cut them down the next day. Man, that is a bomb-ass lawn company if they're going to come the very next day and cut down your 3 giant trees. It took me like 3 weeks to get them to come to my house and cut down trees. It took them all day, and before bed, I had 2 winters worth of firewood in my barren backyard. Hell yeah, you did. That's a lot of fun. You know how expensive firewood is? I don't know. I'm sure a lot of you live in the city and you don't know, but that shit's expensive. The pipes went bad next. Girl, you are just shit out of luck, aren't you? The water turned rust red a few days after I had the trees taken down. The toilet kept clogging. I had to go down to the town rec center for showers and shits. Gross. The pipes started leaking all over the house. I shut the water off to inspect the problem, which was worse than I had imagined. My pipes looked like Swiss cheese, rusted holes running throughout. I bought pallets of water bottles, kept gallon jugs for urine, and got a lot of exercise biking to the rec center and the laundromat. You sure as hell did. That's disgusting. One night, a new small water stain appeared on my bedroom wall just beside the bed. I thought it was a water stain anyway. Though I had always seen them brown or yellow, the blue-gray hue was a first. The hell you got in your walls, lady? The circular shape was lost, then the top half lightened, a blob, creeped downward, then branched out. But then, one morning when I woke, I saw very distinctly a hand shape at the end of what now looked like an arm. You got fucking demons in your house is what you got. The hand wasn't complete, but the portion of the stain that resembled the back of the hand, along with a pinky and thumb. I told myself I was being irrational, seeing shapes in the clouds, but the next morning the stain had grown again. Not only were there 5 digits, but there was a nail at the end of each finger. You got fucking demons crawling out of your walls, dude. I quit work, packed my clothes, and told my mother I was visiting home. She was always happy to see me, so she didn't even ask why. I then scoured all airlines for the next flight to Denver, called the cab company, and went for my bags. I couldn't help myself. I had to go in. I went in for one last look at the stain. You know, that's what everybody does in fucking horror movies. Let me go look just one last time. Dun, dun, dun. I was lightheaded and took a few shallow breaths. I shoved my hands into my pockets to try to calm the shaking. Why was I so scared of a stain? Because it's fucking coming alive and it's gonna eat your ass. That's why you're scared of it. People see Jesus in toast all the time. I took a deep breath and steadied a little. When I exhaled, the hand twitched. Fuck! I told you, your house is coming alive! Get the fuck out of there! Like a limb just before you fall asleep. I fell on my ass. My head slammed into my desk. I jumped, grabbed my bags, and ran out of the house. Damn right. I didn't look back until I was on the sidewalk. The property looked so miserable. A dirt yard covered by dead grass, low, large stumps. The paint on the house trim had already been flaking, but it was much more evident since all the greenery was gone. The windows were all jammed open, some of them propped with various items, because the house smelled overall like mold and urine. When the cab pulled up, I crossed myself and left that godforsaken place. I ignored the calls from the landlord, the lady who owned the house I'd been renting. I knew she'd fucked my credit, but what could I do? The house had gone sour. A month later, I read online that 2 construction workers died of electrocution making repairs there one day. Making repairs then one day soon after. Calls from the landlord stopped coming. It was about 2 weeks before anybody found her body. She had apparently been making some repairs on her own, according to her son, and would sometimes sleep over on an air mattress if she was working late. She had been stabbed several times, then strangled, and partially dismembered. Her left hand had been amputated, and so far had not been located. Okay, so we've got a creepy demonic house that is slowly destroying itself, and anybody that goes in there. That's fucking fantastic. That's creepy as shit. So, oh, there's another note in here. Oh no, that's just my bookmark. I thought for a second she had left me a note in my book, but it was just my bookmark. Oops. All right, so let's do one more. The next one is called Heart Problems. The heart wants what the heart wants. Unfortunately for me, I only feel alive when somebody else is dying. You are a straight up psychopath. I learned to bottle this up and ignore it when I was younger. By the time I was 13, I attempted suicide twice. I say attempted, I didn't get very far. It didn't take long to realize that hurting myself was not the equivalent, and all that would get me is dead. True happiness came from witnessing or causing pain. You're a fucking psychopath. Like I said. Some may say it would... Some may say it would have been noble of me to sacrifice myself to save others. But if I did that, I would have been called a coward. they would call me a monster this way. This was better. It had been some time since I had any fun, at least 68 days. So, no, that's an odd number. That is an odd number to, well, it might have been, 67.367 days. You've been keeping track. I didn't have a type. I didn't profile. It didn't matter who did the screaming or the dying. I left my small apartment, waving to Melinda on the way. Bye, Melinda. We'll see you in the afterlife. She said to be careful and she would have leftovers waiting on me when I got back. See, how nice is a neighbor like that? She's fucking feeding you, and I guarantee she's going to die within the next 2 pages. No one close, no relatives, no neighbors, no old teachers. Okay, so maybe Melinda's going to survive. Hopefully. Those were the rules Dahmer taught me before they caught him. Okay, so does this person know Dahmer? Or just something she picked up from reading about him? Curiosity. That and keeping my business to myself. I never invited anyone over. Never told them about my true past. I would think not. God. I spent over 2 weeks in my younger years composing a false history. A good mother and a loving father. The college I started but didn't finish. Because Dad got sick and Mom needed help. The heartbreak she died from only a few years later. None of it was true, though. See, that's a good backstory, though, because, some people, they make up a backstory and it's all perfect. Oh, I went to college and became a doctor and I was so successful and all these great things happened. But a good backstory has failures in it. None of it was true, though. My mom hated me. Dad abused us both until I was 5. Then he just left. Mom often left me with neighbors and in the car at the dope house. I'm starting to see where these psychopathic tendencies come from. Excuse me, sorry. I remember sleeping in the car for 2 days straight one fall. Thank goodness it was fall. I had 1 bottle of water and no food. Having finished the water in the first 5 hours, I sat there sucking on my dry tongue for the remainder. If she had taken much longer, I would have probably tried to drink my own piss. Okay, where in the hell are you being abandoned at? Are you nowhere near, like, a gas station you can steal from? Or something? God, I feel so bad for you. I didn't dare leave. That would have been worse. I was only 7, and I'm sure the cops would eventually see me back home with where either a beating or the basement waited. She loved to lock me in the basement. Since there was a tap and she left snacks down there, I guess she thought it was kosher. But I digress. Sorry. I'll get that in a minute. I knew she would be my pleasure for the night when I heard her heels clicking in the alley behind me. We were alone. Oh, so you're going to fuck this girl and then kill her. Good job. We were alone, and it was just barely after dark, but the city was quiet that night. Everyone was home for Thanksgiving. Most everything was closed. What was she doing here? Yeah, my question exactly. What the hell are you doing in a dark alleyway on a holiday? It didn't matter. She was my godsend. I exited the alley, then crouched, waited. I was always careful. I never drank. I remember when Dahmer was caught, he said he was drunk. That's why the man got away. I was angry at the guy for taking away the only person who ever really knew me. Dahmer had a hard time with his parents too, though I think mine were a little worse. His parents were self-absorbed and unbearable. He was a product of the generation he grew up in. I am a prime example of what happens when both of your parents care about drugs more than they care about you. I have had so much experience, not personal experience, but friends and family members that have gone down that dark road. I know, I can relate. It's just sad. When she left me in the car for 2 days, that was the first time I contemplated murder. I thought about killing her and what repercussions would come from that, though at 7, I wasn't perfectly capable of understanding everything. I just knew if Mom wasn't around, the state would have to take me. I had the nail file at the ready, straight to the back of the neck, or reach around and pull it straight through. I had seen enough movies to know that the neck was a sensitive area, and one could die from blood loss. Oops. She stumbled out of the broken down home just after dusk. Her feet barely able to stay beneath her. Her eyelids hung low. When she saw me in the back seat, she scoffed and rolled her eyes. The door opened. "I'm surprised you didn't fuck off. Why are you still here?" My little ego bruised, and I sank back into the back seat, sobbing. I couldn't follow through. She overdosed 8 years later. That's when I eventually found myself in Dahmer's apartment. The funny thing is, I was going to kill him, and he intended to kill me. He drugged my drink, but I refused to touch it since I didn't like alcohol. His frustration led us to a physical confrontation. He had me in a headlock, and I was losing consciousness before I worked my Bowie knife free from its holster on my calf. Sheer respect for the weapon caused him to loosen his grasp. He held both hands up to say peace and then asked if he could see it. He didn't want to kill me with it. I could see it in his eyes. They lit with excitement. I handed him the butt of the blade and watched him turn it over, inspecting every inch. The craftsmanship. I stole it from my mom. I think it was my dad's. It's so perfect. I don't think it's ever even been used. I'm sorry I tried to kill you. I was going to kill you. He looked up from the blade then, very slow. Come again? I explained. From there on out, he taught me everything he knew. Okay, so that answered that first question. This is his protege. How to disassemble bodies, how to clean the bones, the best way to dispose of the parts. I was living with him when he was caught. I just wasn't home at the time. I knew he needed the place for himself, so I rented a cheap motel room and brought my tools with me in case I got bored. He had done it in a hotel once before. Surely a shitty little room by the hour motel would have been even easier. Imagine my shock when I saw the news. I'm sure you fucking were shocked. It was just a sign to me, though. A sign that I was to keep going. Passing the torch. She was finally almost to me. Her heels told me she was no further than 5 feet away. I counted. 5, 4, 3, 2. I jumped from behind the wall. That's when I knew I'd picked the wrong place on the wrong night. Oh shit. You fucking got ambushed. Or no. What's the word I'm looking for? It was a sting. Got caught. It was a trap. Not set for me, but a trap nonetheless. A huge surge of rapes had been taking place around the city, and apparently the cops were taking initiative, sending out slender male officers dressed in ladies' garb to try to trick men into attacking them. And then, surprise, you're under arrest. I almost had the knife in his gut, but I was just milliseconds too slow. He took me down, disarmed me, cuffed me, and read me my rights. So here I am, sitting, waiting. This interrogation room is nothing like I expected, except the temperature. It's cold. I like the cold. Boy, were they in for a surprise when they got to my apartment. The fuck were you hiding in your apartment? God, more bodies. See, and this is what I was talking about. W.B. Welch is just phenomenal at creating all of this tension and just this gory imagery. Like that story right there, that was, I felt the gore in that story, but you didn't see any of it. And that's talent. That's what I consider talent anyway. So that was fun. I might do another one later, but I don't want to read her entire book because then you won't buy it. So those are 2 stories. If W.B. Welch says it's okay for me to do another one, I might do another one. But in the meantime, go buy Blood Drops, read it, get freaked out, and then go on Twitter and tell her how awesome she is. So that's it for today. I will be back again next week. I've got a couple more videos I'm planning. I've got some soapboxes that I'm going to get up on. Probably, I really do need to tell you guys about my novel and my work in progress. So I'll probably do that next. That's usually like the second video that an author tube makes, and I haven't done it yet. Okay, well, you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.